Welcome back to another video for the All Takes No Whiffs podcast. I'm Alex and that's Christian, and we are back with another baseball rankings video going through our top 10 players at each position. This week we are going to the star-studded third baseman, and man, this was a lot easier list to come up with. I will say that the back end was a little tough, but I mean the first 5 to 6, I'm pretty sure everyone's got them as their top 6, but I'm super excited to get into it, so let's get started.
Our top 10 third baseman in baseball. Like Alex said, this is a star-studded list. First half of it, definitely like the names. I guess you can make the argument you can have them in what position you want, but the names I think are set, and I think that definitely shows in our two list. But to get things started, my number 10 third baseman in baseball, I actually have Eugenio Suarez of the Seattle Mariners. That guy, doesn't bring too much to the table, but when it comes to what he brings to the table, it's in abundance, and that's power. And the thing is, he's kind of streaky, and when he's hot,
Very.
that's one of the last hitters I want to face. Uh, I know there's other players who are more well rounded, but I really do like the fact that he brings that much power to the table. Not saying that third basemen are required to have power, but at a position where it is a plus.
No, yeah. I mean, this dude had an unreal second half of his season a couple of years ago. I think he hit like almost 30 home runs or something like that. Ended up winning the home run title that year. But I mean, dude's really good at hitting and everything else. He's a little below average. But he didn't make my list. But for number 10 for me, I have Cabrian Hayes. And before I get into Cabrian Hayes, we're doing the same thing as usual. Christian's the headshots and I'm the name. So I'm just going to keep it the same way every time. But Cabrian Hayes, third baseman for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Dude's been in the league for a couple years now, but has only had one full season. He's had three other seasons where he's kind of been, I wouldn't say up and down, but just kind of there. But this is a guy I've been really high on for a while now. And I just really like what he did. Last year, he batted 244. He had 314 OBP or on base percentage and a 345 slugging or OPS. Not very, or not OPS, slugging percentage. OPS was 659, but I think his numbers are just going to get better this year. He was a little injured last year. I know he had a hurt wrist, which can impact your hitting a little bit, but I think this guy is going to be a stud for the Pirates.
Without a doubt. And a quick mention about your point about Suarez, that season that he went off in the second half. Remember, it was funny because I feel like me personally, and I think nobody had any clue who he was until he went on that streak. I had
I had
no
no
idea.
idea, no idea who he was.
Like I
Only
saw all
only
the
thing I remember from him was his. I think he dyed his hair blonde. That's the only thing I remember from him.
yeah. So this man really just came through out of nowhere. But Cabrian Hayes, I feel what you're saying. I'm definitely pretty high on him. When it comes to Cabrian, though, I kind of value more so his well-roundedness. I think his bat does have a lot of room to grow, but I really like what I see from his glove. So I
It's
think
very
if he
good.
could, if he can, I guess elevate the bat a little bit, that having that ability, that's going to be very important for WAR for you advanced nerds. No, I'm playing.
I got a stat on more later for one of these players too. That's pretty good. So I'm there
Yes,
with
sir.
you.
Yeah, and I know I just made a joke about it, but I do think WAR is pretty important for sure. But for my number 9 third baseman in baseball, this guy is a very solid piece to a solid organization for sure. They're not standouts to me, but they're always in the mix. You got Yandy Diaz of the Tampa Bay Rays, coming off of a really good season last year, on base percentage over 400. That's insane to
Insane.
me. Yeah. And obviously didn't flash too much pop, only had 9 homers, but 33 doubles. That's definitely solid to me. And even if you're not flashing too much pop, sending balls over the fence, if your OPS is solid, I think you're still productive when it comes to power in a sense. It's just a little different. But OPS over 800, really solid season from him last year. And I'm kind of expecting the same thing, if not even a little better for 2023.
Oh yeah, one thing I want to say real quick about power. Power just isn't all about home runs. It's
Exactly.
doubles, it's hitting the ball in the gap, it's triples, it's driving guys in. So
Mm,
if you think power is just home runs, I mean that's just not true. I mean a guy
exactly.
can hit 9 home runs and hit 40 doubles and still be very powerful. I mean, just doesn't mean they're getting the ball over the fence. It doesn't.
Exactly. Home runs is like surface level power. Like that's like when you're just getting into the discussion of power, but there's way more to it, like you said.
If
But
you really want to get into it, there's a stat called ISO. Look it up. That's a
mm,
strictly power stat, and if it's over 200, they are elite. That's all I'm gonna say. And a lot of guys are not over 200. So, but to get back a little on track, I love you having Yandy on your list. A lot of I didn't see him on a lot of lists for other people, but I have him a little higher on mine. But number 9 for me, I have the Chicago White Sox third baseman Yohan Moncada. Yoel Moncada, he had an injury-riddled year last year. 2018 and 2019, he absolutely broke out. Everyone thought he was going to be a superstar. And then he kind of fizzled out. He's had a couple injuries here and there, but I still am really high on this guy. He's a switch hitter. Doesn't have the most power, but he can hit from both sides pretty well. His defense isn't the best, but I'm just looking for a bounce back season from him. Played 104 games last year and had a career low and everything. Batted 212, 273 OBP, and a 353 slugging. So everything was just a little down. But I expect him to be a big part of this lineup now since Jose Abreu is gone. He's going to have to produce a little more.
yeah, for sure. And God willing, like the health is all good for 2023 because I am big on Yohan Moncada as well. And that's why I actually have him at number 8 for my top 10 third baseman. I just really like his game. I like the way he carries himself, the way he plays the game. And like you said, his most valuable asset for sure is being a good bat on both sides. Uh, not the most power, but very productive. And yeah, I'm just hoping to see Moncada bounce back because, like you said, his trajectory, he hasn't met it yet, but there's been some roadblocks that I think he can overcome. So maybe he can end up higher on this list at some point. But God willing, health is all there for 2023.
Oh yeah, and I hope he definitely has a healthy season. And for number 8 for me, I have who you have at number 9. I have Yandy Diaz. Looking up his stats, I mean, like Christian said for him, I mean, it kind of blew me away. I did not think this guy had that good of stats. He's only had 2 full seasons in the MLB, and everything it was a career high pretty much last year. He batted 296, 401, on base percentage, which is absolutely insane. But the slugging percentage is only 423, so it's not too much higher than the OBP. Which I mean, it's not really too much to worry about. He's getting on base, which is all that really matters. Christian said he had 9 homers, 33 doubles, 32 doubles, something like that.
Mhm.
Career high in that. This dude is just super solid all around. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that on base percentage is even higher this year. The only reason why I would see it lower is if his batting average dips. But I see this guy being a solid piece for Tampa Bay this year. And I'm not quite too sure how I think about Tampa Bay, honestly, this year yet.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm more worried about Toronto in our division, of course, but luckily Yandy did not approach the Brendan Donovan territory of having a higher on base percentage than slugging. So the pop is there, Yandy. It's still there. Just don't go negative. Just messing. But yeah, no, Yandy's a beast. He's gonna be a beast, I think, for a few years to come. But for my number 7 third baseman in baseball, this guy was a lot higher a couple of years ago. I got Matt Chapman of the Toronto Blue Jays. Uh, top 2, top 3 glove when it comes to third base, in my opinion. When
Maybe
it
in
comes,
general.
yeah, yeah, exactly. The only reason I can't say he's the best glove at third is because you got Nolan, who we'll get into.
A
But
little
Matt
later.
Chapman, yeah. But Matt Chapman, though, I do like his game. I know he's not very consistent with the bat at all, but when he's hot, he's definitely scary with the bat. But I think when he's on top of it, on top of his game, being a dual, like a really good bat when he's hot and an elite glove, I just think that's something that's very valuable, especially at third. The hot corner is very important. Having a solid glove there, that's key. So I think he's going to be a good piece for the Blue Jays, and hopefully we see some consistency for him this year from him.
Yeah, I'd love to see a little more consistency from him. Is a pretty streaky guy, to be honest. I have him at number 7 too. I have Matt Chapman at number 7. But he really doesn't have to do that much if you really think about it. With all those guys in that lineup, like Springer, Bichette, Vladdy, Varsho now too, Kirk. I mean, this lineup's stacked. So, and you just adding him in there, honestly, is just for defense.
Yeah.
I mean, he still hit 27 homers and 27 doubles last year. He had over 50 extra base hits. So that's still a really good season for him. Just the average just really wasn't there. He batted 229. That's the second lowest of his career. And I mean, just everything was down in general. I mean, his on base percentage was 324, and his slugging percentage was 433. That was really, really down compared to his past few seasons. But in 2021, I mean, this dude had a horrible, really, really bad season. He only batted like 210, and he played 150 games that season still. So if the bat's not there, the glove is going to be, because dude, like Christian said, is an elite defender. So if he's not producing with the bat, he's still going to be fielding everything at third base, because dude's won Gold Glove literally like every single year since he's been in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure he has a platinum glove too.
Yeah, Matt Chapman with the glove. If all else fails, bro, he's got it with the glove, without a doubt. But for my number 6 third baseman, quick disclaimer: this is for Alex and obviously for everyone watching. My 6 through 4, in my head, honestly, it's a little interchangeable. This is what I just decided on, but like these guys right here, I think they're just hovering all near like the same. And I really wanted to say that to Alex too, because for number 6, I got Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves. Austin, initially when I was first cooking up this list, I had him at 4. He could easily still be at 4 for me.
I think that's about as high as he goes, though.
Yeah, I think he's like hovering borderline like MVP candidate, and honestly, the only reason why he wouldn't be higher on this list, even though I have him as an MVP candidate, is that a couple of other third basemen are MVP candidates as well. So, yeah, Austin Riley, he is a beast. I really like his bat. I do like that he brings pop to the table, but he is a complete hitter, in my opinion. Doesn't really bring too much to the table with the glove, but
it's getting better.
With the bat, he makes up for it in excess, in my opinion. So, yeah, he could be as high as 4 to me. Honestly, I just woke up, or not even woke up today. I woke up with him at 4. There was just a couple other factors when making my list that had me put him at 6 for now. This guy could obviously be as high as 1 at some point in the season, but let's wait and see.
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. What you said, 1 through 6 right here, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone is going to have the same people, 1 through 6. All of these guys are absolute superstars too. They are a cornerstone piece for their franchise, and someone who's making a lot of freaking money. That's all I'm going to say. All of these guys have at least a $175 million contract. So, and Jose Ramirez, that's the guy who has the lowest one, honestly should have more, but all these guys should have at least 200 million. But Austin Riley is a little higher on my list. I do have a little words for you having him at 6, but at 6 for me, I have Alex Bregman, the Houston Astros third baseman. This dude's not the best regular season player, but if you take consideration postseason, dude's one of the best players to play baseball. I mean, it's just hands down. We saw what he did last season. He batted 259 in the regular season, but he batted over 330 in the postseason. So it's kind of a different ball player right there. He hit 23 homers, had 38 doubles, 93 RBIs. But one thing I really, really, really like about Alex Bregman is he does not strike out a lot. He struck out 77 times and 548 at bats last year, which is extremely good. Anyone who strikes out under 100 times in a season probably has a really high on base percentage, and honestly probably is a really good hitter because there's not many people strike out less than 100 times nowadays. But honestly, Alex Bregman kind of had a little down year last year in the regular season before the postseason. He did have his lowest batting average for an entire full season. He has been hurt the past 2 or 3 years, kind of. Last year was his first full
2021
year.
was real bad.
Yeah, last year was his first full season in like 3 years. So, just hopefully this dude can stay healthy because this team's super dangerous and every single person on this team is freaking good with the Houston Astros. So, hopefully Bregman can maybe pick it up a little bit. But his stats were honestly really good last year. But he's number 6 for me on my list.
I feel that. I'll get into my thoughts on Bregman in a second. But really, really good, respectable placing in my opinion. Like I said, interchangeable in my eyes. So we'll get into that in a second. But for my number 5 third baseman in baseball, I got Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox. Um, there's a few factors that had me put him over Austin Riley, to be honest. Last season, Austin Riley, in my opinion, for sure had a better season. I do like that Devers has youth on his side when I'm looking forward to the future, I guess. And honestly, even though I think Austin Riley had a better season, I think last year was it wasn't like a standout season for Devers standards, and the numbers were still very close. So that and youth is mainly that's the main reason. And I'll call myself out. Dominican bias. Yeah. Nah, but in all seriousness, Devers he's already a beast now, and I feel like we're still waiting on him to blossom. So like I'm really waiting on that, and I can't wait to, even though he's in Boston. I do like a couple players from Boston. Like historically, there's a few guys. So and Devers is one of them for sure.
Oh yeah, I know it's a little hard talking about a Boston player, but Devers will be a little higher on my list. But for number 5 for me, I have Austin Riley, my third baseman for the Atlanta Braves. I absolutely love this dude. This is someone who I was following all the way throughout the minors. Like 3 years before he got called up, I was telling everybody this will be our future third baseman. Yohan Camargo, who is our third baseman right now, even though he led our team in RBIs, will probably not be there that season that I finally figured him out. But Austin Riley came up, hit 17 home runs in like a 30 game span or something, then got figured out real quick. He had 2 slow seasons after that where he struck out a lot, didn't have very good vision. But this season, this past season, and the season before, he absolutely broke out. He figured something out. He worked with Chipper Jones, fixed his stance a little bit. But dude's hit 33 and 38 home runs the past 2 years. He's number 3, number 4 in that lineup in a big RBI spot. He's all were career highs last year: 38 homers, 39 RBI, or 39 doubles, not RBIs. Jesus, that'd be horrible. 38 homers and 39 RBIs, but 93 RBIs. But pretty much exceeded every single other category. But I just want to see that defense get better, honestly. He isn't the best at defense, like Christian said, but that bat makes up for it. He's an absolute complete hitter, and I'm looking forward to him to kind of get that strikeout rate down. But these power guys, it's really not going to happen.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask for. I think that just comes down to their approach. I saw something the other day. I'm pretty sure you saw it too. The interview with Chipper, talking about Austin
Mm-hmm.
Riley hitting and like the change in approach that they did. I really liked how simple it was, just letting the ball get deeper, aiming for the right center gap instead of pulling towards left center. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it was definitely apparent just in the Austin Riley's results, like of a lot of his hits. It's just I don't know. It looked a lot more, looked a lot cleaner.
Oh yeah, when you start seeing him drive the ball the other way to right center field, that's when you know he's on it. He's hot. He's seeing the ball good, and I mean that's honestly with a lot of hitters. It was the same thing with
Mhm.
Dansby when he started driving the ball deep right center, hitting home runs to right field. That's when you knew he was getting hot, and that's how you know when most hitters are getting hot when they're letting the ball get deep.
Yep. That was the key that Chipper said, and it's evident. Austin Riley is here, and he's going to be here for a long time, and that's why the Braves secured him for a
12
long
years.
time. Yeah, without a doubt. But for my number 4 third baseman, this is where we get into me having to explain myself. I actually have Alex Bregman of the Houston Astros at 4. Uh, I know his track record for the regular season the past couple of years has been disappointing, injury riddled, all those things. Uh, my thing is with Bregman is postseason aside, we already know what's up with him in the postseason. the glimpse we caught of regular season Bregman in 2019 was crazy, in my opinion.
41 homers.
It was crazy. It. Trout won the MVP that year. I thought Trout deserved the MVP that year. I thought it was razor thin. Like, I'm remembering this vividly. I was like, oh my God, Bregman honestly could maybe take that. But Trout got it, of course, because it's Trout. But Bregman in 2019, just knowing that existed, I think I'm kind of holding on to that. I think if he can remotely get closer to that than he was this past season, he's top three, maybe top two. So that was a big factor. And then obviously the postseason. Bregman in the postseason, I would take him at number one if this was a postseason specific list. But yeah, as of right now, he's number four for me. And the thing is with Bregman, I think he can kind of only go up really from here because the bar has been set a little low the past couple of regular seasons.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, honestly, but I honestly really don't see Bregman getting back to that 2019 form. I
Yeah,
mean, that was
same.
just an absolute stellar season from him. And his numbers just haven't been the same since. The season after that, he actually had a pretty good season.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't live up to the standards of that one, but I just don't see Bregman getting back all the way to that. I can definitely see him getting like 30, 35
Yep.
homers. I mean, but hitting 40 again, I don't see Bregman hitting 40 again.
I feel that. And a quick thing before we move on about Bregman. One of my favorite things about him, Alex mentioned it earlier, high on base percentage. Uh, and it's a lot of people. There's a lot of hitters that have a high on base percentage due to putting the ball in play a lot and getting on base a good amount, and some from walking a lot. Some are walked a lot because they're feared hitters, and I think Bregman is to an extent, but Bregman's eye is just noticeably like that
Yeah,
good.
that's the
Like,
strikeout thing I was talking
yeah,
about earlier.
that right, and it's his eye. Like he takes pitches like centimeters off the zone and just spits on them. It's kind of wild to see, especially in the postseason when he's locked in. Watch, I know he's part of the scandal, but it is fun to watch Bregman hit. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, him and Bryce Harper may have two of the best eyes in all of baseball. Those dudes
Mm-hmm.
walk a lot, don't strike out a lot, but yeah, I honestly love Alex Bregman. We share the same name, so gotta like him. But I like him at number four. Honestly, I know I said before we started recording that you're wild for having him at four, but I can see why now.
Yeah, but it's still, even with that all in mind, I could very easily, in like 10 minutes, be like, yeah, but Austin Riley, what he brings to the table.
It's
Yeah,
kind of in the
so
moment. It's kind of in the moment type thing.
exactly. So 4 through 6, I'm gonna double down. Easily could be vice versa. Devers could be at as high as four. It's a little tough, but that's what I decided on, and I'm gonna stick to it until I decide otherwise.
But to get back on track a little bit, for number four for me, I have who you have at number five. I have Rafael Devers, the third baseman for the Boston Red Sox. Just coming off a super mega deal. A lot of money to coming his way the next 10 to 12 years. I'm happy for him, but this dude, honestly, his defense isn't the best. He's kind of like Austin Riley from the left side, though. To be
Mhm.
honest, if you really want to put it that way, defense isn't the best, but he can hit. He's a complete hitter. Can hit always. My thing just with Devers is I don't know if he's going to be a third baseman for too much longer because the defense has never really been there for him. They got people coming up in that farm system too. Not too many good names, but I know they have one. And I think this dude will probably be a DH at some point in his career just because of how good of a hitter he is. But last season was an unreal season for him. He had his second highest on base percentage and average at 295 and 358. He hit 27 homers, hit 42 doubles. That was his second best of his career too, and had 88 RBIs. Dude is just steadily improving every year. He's also the father of Garrett Cole, so that's also a nice thing too. I'm sorry, but
No, no, hey, I've fully
it's the
accepted that.
truth. It's the
I've
truth, and
I've
everyone knows that.
I have fully accepted that. That man, Rafael Devers, he might be a decade younger than Cole, and he's his father. So like
Yeah.
that goes to show. But I will say I do think your comparison of spot is spot on between Riley And Devers, the one difference is, even though Devers' glove is mid, he's got a cannon for an arm.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm gonna give to Devers on the defensive end because there's not really much else to. He's got a cannon, and his arm is fitting for third. It's just you got to replace his glove arm.
Yeah,
But
it's not the best, but I mean, also third base isn't the easiest position to play
mm,
either.
yeah, yeah. Credit to these
They
guys.
call it the hot corner for a reason.
Yeah, and honestly, they're dealing with like ground balls down the line drives down the line, 100 plus miles per hour, 110 at times. So I want to see, people try to deal with that, and then nah, I'm messing.
That's why I have so
Even
much
though,
respect for Arenado and Machado, to be honest.
yeah, yeah, and that respect is about to be shown. In case anybody wondering why they haven't been mentioned yet, just wait. But yeah, Devers at 4. I feel that in that same range as me. Like I said, interchangeable. But for my number 3, I've got Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians. J Ram is one of my favorite players in baseball. I know Alex as well.
I love this
J
dude.
Ram J Ram is a beast. Doesn't have the dimensions that you would see from a guy that puts up his numbers, and it's just he hustles his ass off. And he does it on all facets of baseball. Uh, Even on when it comes to base running, it's funny to see little
I
pudgy
love
guy
watching
moving
him
that.
run the bases. I love
He hauls
watching.
he hauls ass, bro. He hauls ass, and then very valuable hitter hitting from both sides. Brings something different to the table on both sides, in my opinion. Not to the same degree as Ozzy, because I think he's still
He's a
very
lot better
productive
than
on.
Ozzy.
Yeah, yeah, like it's not that same sort of dynamic. I do think he's a lot more balanced on both sides, but
Hmm.
yeah, J Ram is just he could be number 1 at some point of this season. He's definitely had that, like, in my opinion, last season relatively early on. I think he was the best third baseman for a stint. So, J Ram definitely top 3 without a doubt, and he will continue to be. I don't see any sort of decline, especially with the way he plays.
Oh yeah, you could honestly. I think he was the front runner for the MVP before Aaron Judge really took off.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jose Ramirez is batting over 300 and he had like 10 home runs really quick. So, um, dude's one of the best players in baseball in general. I'll actually talk about him in a second. Number 3, I have Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres. Manny Machado, I think, had his best season offensively last year.
Yeah.
All around, he hit 32 homers, 37 doubles, and 102 RBIs. None of those were career highs, but in the average department, he batted 298, and that was the second best of his career. That's something I wouldn't have thought Manny Machado would do, would bat close to 300. I figured he's like a 280 to a 275 hitter, but
Mm-hmm.
last year, he really had to pick it up since Todd East wasn't there. And he carried that team for majority of the year, to be honest. And when I mean carry, he absolute carried them until they got Soto. And Soto really didn't even do that much when he
Yeah,
got there.
exactly.
So honestly, that's why I think Manny Machado should have won MVP last year. I thought he should have won MVP last year. I know Paul Goldschmidt had an unreal season too, but I just think Manny Machado should have won MVP last year, and that's why he's number 3 on my list for third baseman.
I feel that with that context about like the team situation, that definitely boosted his argument a lot. Uh, it was a close race. That's what I'm gonna say. And
Super close, to be honest.
yeah, and Machado, he's been a top 3 third baseman for a while now, in my opinion. But before we get into our top 2, a couple quick honorable mentions. My first one, kind of wanted to include this guy on my list because of bias, but honorable mentions respectable. I've got DJ LeMahieu of the New York Yankees. Even though he wasn't a primary third baseman a couple seasons ago, I feel like if this was the DJ of a couple seasons ago, he would definitely break this list. He's just had some injuries he's had to deal with, some bad stretches, to be quite honest. He wasn't a very notable power guy beforehand, but his power even took a dip. Uh, obviously, obviously, he's not the same as he was, say, in like 2019. But I think DJ, if he's healthy, I think he could come back and be productive and maybe crack this list.
I think not being in chorus has a factor in that power too. He's not in Coors Field anymore. A little different atmosphere there in New York, but I like the honorable mention for him. I think he's still better than Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson's kind of fallen off a freaking cliff recently, but my first honorable mention is Max Muncy. He transitioned to third base last year after the signing of Freddie Freeman. I know he's played a little second base too, but dude's just not a really that good of a defender. Where he really comes through is with the bat, and last year he struggled mightily. He batted under 200. He still hit over 20 homers, but the average just wasn't there at all. But hopefully, this guy can have a little bounce back of his season now that he's kind of settled in at third base, and that's where he's primarily going to play now since Justin Turner's no longer there. But I'm looking forward to seeing this guy bounce back a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would love to see Mad Bum's father do well. Uh, I'm playing. I really love that moment. That was a fun moment.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah,
was.
Max Muncy, for sure. He definitely, if he's doing well, he definitely his name is floating around in this conversation. But for my second honorable mention, I have Ryan McMahon of the Colorado Rockies. Um, Not the most known guy, unless you played MLB the show, then you know this guy
He's a
all too well.
beast.
You know him all too well. Hey, I didn't even use his card like that, so I'm more so on the side of like I hated that card because I didn't use it, but he shat on me. But no, about the real life Ryan McMahon. It brings solid, decent power to the table. A really good glove at third base. A little bit of a step below elite. And it's funny that you get somebody with that good of a glove at third base, but it's still a downgrade. Yeah, that's pretty funny to me. But Ryan McMahon, I think, is a solid ball player for sure, and just like deserves a quick honorable mention.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely does. And second honorable mention for me is Anthony Rendon, third baseman for the Los Angeles Angels, and I'm just hoping this dude can stay healthy. I don't think he's been healthy a single season since he signed that massive deal with the Angels. Won a World Series with the Nationals, and then signed a big ass check with the Angels and hasn't really done shit over there. But I'm hoping to see him get back to form because this dude was one of the best third basemen in all of baseball that World Series year and the couple years before. I honestly think that he would have been as high as maybe 3 on some of my list or even 4. That's how good he was. Dude's just all around good. His defense probably isn't as good anymore than it was then, but I just want to see the bat to be back. I just want to see him be healthy, to be honest, because I think he played like maybe 30 games last year or something. He missed majority of the season. That's all I know, but hopefully he can get back to being healthy.
Yeah, man, it's tough seeing Rendon going through this, and I made this point about somebody, but you mentioned that he's looking healthy. I can't remember who it was, but it was like that point I made. A back injury, like the bad side of a back injury could do you
Brandon
real
Lowe last
dirty.
week.
Brandon Lowe,
Brandon Lowe
yeah,
last week. Yeah.
Brandon, yeah. He's luckily he's bouncing back strong, but this is just a prime example of what a back injury could really do. We haven't seen Rendon be Anthony Rendon since 2019, and I think that's just a shame, and it's unfortunate that he's dealing with that. But like you said, if he bounces back, that man is an elite third baseman, and I would love to see him bounce back.
Yeah, I would say he and Christian Yelich are the two guys who are really struggling with that back injury the few years. Because I mean, both of those guys were top 10 players in baseball before having these back injuries. So hopefully both of them get back to normal. But you can continue. My bad.
No, that's all good. That's very real. Back injuries don't even with life too outside of sports, guys. Protect your back.
Yeah, it's very important.
Health advice from all takes no lives. But for going back to the list, for my number 2 third baseman in all of baseball, I have Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres. Alex was spot on with him. Practically the NL MVP last year. He was just off. Machado has been a very noticeable name in baseball for a while. He was called up young by the Orioles. Flashed a lot of talent, has made some insane plays off the top of my head against my Yankees. That throw from foul territory, insane. And Machado has just stood out for a few years, but last year, like you said, I think he kind of solidified that. Like, yeah, he could be a team leader last year. I think that was another big thing. because he was asked for a lot and he delivered. But Machado, top two for sure, in my opinion. Well, not for sure. It's debatable too, but I have that too.
No, I feel you on that. And one thing I will say about Manny Machado that I didn't earlier is his defense has slightly regressed the past few years. He's not what he used to be anymore, but he's still an elite defender. And he came up actually as a shortstop. A lot of people don't realize that he did play third base when he came up at first. But I mean, Orioles had a really good guy at shortstop at that time. I can't think of his name right now, and it's
JJ
really
Hardy.
irritating me. JJ Hardy. I knew that's who it was. I don't know. I just didn't want to say it for some reason.
No, I feel that. I
um,
remember. I remember that even when he was on his way out, they were experimenting a little with Machado at short. I
yeah,
remember
after they
that.
traded him to the Brewers, they
Hmm.
put him at shortstop for a couple. But yeah, I mean, his defense just is slightly regressed, but I would still consider him elite. But my number two, third baseman, I absolutely love this guy. He's probably my favorite player in the league, other than anyone else on the Braves. Is Jose Ramirez, third baseman for the Cleveland Guardians. Every time I talk this guy, I just have a smile on my face because I mean, he just Christian said it earlier. He just doesn't look like a baseball player, to be honest. I mean, he's short, he's stubby, but he's so quick and he's so powerful. That's the thing, and it kind of just blows my mind because I'm as tall as him, and I wish I could do the things he could. But on a serious note, Jose Ramirez is I honestly wanted to put him at number one, but I just couldn't because of who is and how well-rounded the player at number one is. Jose Ramirez isn't the best defender in the world. He's solid. He's played a little second base in his career too. But he's mainly a third baseman. Like Christian said, with Ozzy, he's kind of like Ozzy, but on the right side, he's the complete opposite. He's got power on the right side, but the contact's not there. Ozzy has contact, but no power on the right side. But lefty, dude's an absolute animal. On the base path, he's very good. And there's a little stat that I found the other day is since 2017, the only players who have accumulated a more WAR than Jose Ramirez are Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, and Mookie Betts. Pretty damn good list, and all three of those guys have won an MVP in that span. So it's
Yeah,
about time for Jose Ramirez to win an MVP, I think.
agreed. Because Jose Ramirez, honestly, I think it kind of goes a little unnoticed. He's been good for quite a while now. To be honest with you, he was in that MVP race in 2019. I know he wasn't top three, but his name was kind of floating around. Um,
Last year he was too for a little bit.
exactly. JRM has been in the mix of some of the best baseball players in the world for a few years now, and I think that definitely he definitely deserves credit for that. And
And he's taken over that face of the franchise too, since Lindor's
mm,
not there.
oh yeah, and honestly, I think no disrespect to Lindor, I think I would rather have JRM as the face of a franchise than Lindor, especially in hindsight, like
Yeah,
seeing what's
especially
happened
after
since.
Lindor's last season.
Exactly. But our number one, my number one third baseman in all of baseball. Honestly, it's a little close between him and like the top three, but I've got Nolan Arenado of the St. Louis Cardinals. Uh, got Rockies legend Nolan Arenado. Honestly, kind of proved that the Coors effect didn't really hit him like that. That's a factor for me. Uh, to be honest with you, I would say I kind of value J Ram's bat, maybe Machado's bat if we're talking strictly bat compared to Arenado. But I think it's close enough that when you take into consideration Arenado's glove, he takes the cake. Nolan Arenado has been good for a long time with the bat, has been historically great with the glove for a long time. Nobody in the National League is winning a Gold Glove at third base until this man's out of the league, basically. And there's not too much more to say about Arenado other than I'm just excited to see him cook up in St. Louis a little more
Yeah, and it's pretty good when you have two MVP candidates on one team. But
on the corners.
Nolan Arenado, by far the best third baseman in my eyes in all of baseball, all around the glove, the bat. I will say the speed is not there at all. So base
Yeah.
paths, no. But like Christian said, the Coors effect did not affect him at all when he left. Actually, last season he hit 42 doubles. That's the second most of his career. He hit 30 homers. He's hit 30 homers, I think, every season now that he's been outside of Coors, which is actually something a lot of people didn't think he was going to do. Hasn't reached 40 yet, like he did twice with Colorado, but I really don't expect that to get back to 40 again. But dude's been an absolute menace in the field, to be honest. I mean, his glove is insane. I was reading an article the other day, and I can honestly agree with it a little bit. Arenado has a chance to go down as the greatest third baseman of all time just because of gold gloves and everything, but I don't think he's going to get there. I don't think he passes Mike Schmidt or Brooks Robinson, especially Brooks Robinson in the gold glove department.
Yeah, he's got like 18, right?
I think it's 20.
Yeah.
It's something like that. Yeah. But I do think Nolan Arenado does have a chance to go down as a top 5 third baseman of all time, but he is my number 1 third baseman for this year. And kind of like with Alex Bregman earlier, one other thing I wanted to say about him is dude does not strike out that much either. He had 72 strikeouts and 557 plate appearances last year. So dude is very good at making contact, and I'm just super excited to see the St. Louis Cardinals team after the addition of Wilson Contreras too, because this team is going to be making a lot of noise. Just hope that pitching staff can be better.
Oh yeah, Arenado topping off this list. Kind of expected. He's been that guy for a long time
A
now.
long, long time.
Long time. But this list was exciting to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the first real star-studded position I feel like we got into. Yeah, we got into some power at first base, but a little top heavy. Second base, same thing. But third base right here. I think this is, in my opinion, the first list that we've got that the top 5 are all top
Interchangeable
6. Yeah,
almost.
exactly. So this list was exciting to make overall, and it wasn't as hard as second base, which I'm definitely glad for. But really looking forward to this next list, though. That's another star-studded position. Can't wait to get into that. But third base was fun too.
And before we get out of here, I will say one thing about people who've made third base list. Anyone who has Nolan Arenado at number 8, you're fucking crazy, to be honest. I saw Nolan Arenado at 8 on a couple lists, and I was like, there is no way in hell
Bro,
that there are 7 better third basemen in the league than Nolan Arenado, let alone 3.
those are the delusional people who think the Coors effect is actually did happen when there's like no drop in numbers.
No.
But that's besides the point. Yeah, number 8 for Nolan Arenado.
Crazy.
Go get help. That's what I'm going to end on.
And that does it for another video for the All Taste No Whiffs podcast. Another rankings video for our top 10 third basemen for this upcoming season in 2023. It was a really, really fun list to come up with, to be honest. It's super star-studded, like Christian said, and honestly the easiest list we've had to come up with so far. But before we get out of here, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and also make sure you turn on notifications to know that when we post new content. And also let us know in the comments who you think should be on this list if we left anyone off, and who your top third baseman is for 2023.
Yeah, go ahead and give us your thoughts in the comments. You can also find us on our social media pages if you want to let us know over there. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, all at ATNW Podcast. If you want, you could find my personal Instagram or Twitter at Christian_S52.
If you want, you can find mine at AHandy2215.
Honestly, Padres fans, I know I'm addressing you guys again. I feel like we respected Machado on this list, so go easy. But like Alex said, like it's been said, this was the best list so far, and I'm just looking forward to the next one because that one might be competing too. But until then,
it's going to be lit.
But until then, though, peace, y'all.
Peace.